Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is Message. Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is super recent. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I appreciate you all so much for tuning into this episode. I know I did the announcement kind of late. So for those that are catching it after the fact, welcome. Tell your friends about it. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. A little bit about Tea Time. Tea Time with Bunky is more than just a show. It's a safe place, a welcoming space where everyone can share their stories and life journeys. From survivors and advocates to community leaders and everyday voices, no story is too big and no story is too small. Each episode dives deep into the topics that matter, from social issues and politics to self-healing and transformation. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And you can also catch me afterwards on Pandora Radio, the podcast, Pandora Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Republic, Podcast, iHeartRadio, Cash Heart, and Amazon Music. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Become a part of a community that believes in the power of sharing and healing together. So that is Tea Time with Bunky. I'm not going into politics. Everybody knows. Watch the news, see what's going on, because it stresses me out. Everybody that follows and watches me know politics gives me anxiety, but yet I talk about it because it's very important. But tonight is a special show. It's a special show. Let me give my little backstory. Mr. Selwyn Roberts is a seasoned real estate developer, visionary, community advocate, and founder of Intercultural Resources Development Incorporated. With over 50 years of experience in real estate, Mr. Roberts has owned, managed, and renovated more than 300 apartment units, including co-ops, multifamily, and Section 8 housing. A year ago, he moved his business from New York City to Sullivan County, recognized the urgent need for workforce housing and underserved communities. Through his company, DSS Services LLC, he's partnering with the Village of Monticello to certify it as a pro-housing community, unlocking critical state housing funds for the area. Beyond business, Mr. Roberts is deeply committed to community transformation. His nonprofit Intercultural Resources Development provides construction industry training and is working to introduce an effective drug rehabilitation program. He is also founding member of the Sullivan County Citizens for Good Government Pact, a political action committee focused on holding leaders accountable and energizing youth to step into politics and advocacy roles, which is desperately needed here, you guys. It's crazy. You know, that drives me crazy in its own. And carrying the torch alongside him is his son, Sheldon Roberts, who helps lead. I'm going to say this wrong, so I'm not even going to say it. You can correct me. Aruka. I said it wrong. Realty, I'm sure. A family-run business currently negotiating to bring 80 units in workforce housing and commercial space to Broadway and Monticello. Needed. Together, Mr. Roberts and his family are not just building homes, they are building hope, opportunity, and legacy. And I am so grateful to have Mr. Edwards and his son on, but they were brought to my attention by one of my old co-workers and friend, Mr. Edwin Perez. And before I bring the two Roberts on, I want to bring Edwin up really quick. Edwin, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention, because you know I'm always trying to find out what's going on in the community. But what made you bring them to me?
Well, I know you have a good platform, and there's a lot of people that listen to you, and they're bringing something positive to the community. Me being a resident of Monticello for over 25 years, I saw the necessity of more diverse housing in this area because we're getting inundated by a specific ethnicity in this county.
Right.
And I think, that's where you create problems in the community where you don't have diversity. And these gentlemen are definitely trying to bring diversity, bring housing, and bring something positive to the community that will hopefully flourish.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I'm just over here sharing. That's why it looks like I'm not paying attention, but I'm totally paying attention because this needs to be shared. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Selwyn Roberts and his son, Mr. Sheldon Roberts. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Thank you for your time, your hard work. I mean, there's one big question I really want to ask you, but before we get into that, because it blows my mind why anybody's here, Mr. Roberts Sr. Okay, you've been in real estate for over 50 years. What drew you to the field of housing? And you've done so much. And what keeps you motivated? Is he frozen? He's frozen. That's why
There he goes.
Oh my
he's
God.
there you go. There you go. He's like, oh my God, there you go. Did you hear me? Did you did you hear the question? It's definitely you because your son's not frozen, so it's your location.
You're going in and out.
Now you two, let me
I got interested in real estate.
Yeah, he's dad.
it's him, right? It's not me.
Yeah.
Okay. Ah. See, I'm glad I have you on because you know his story.
Yeah.
50 years.
Ah.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
Dad.
Mr. Roberts, you're frozen. It's your service. It's totally your service.
yeah.
It's you.
Dad. Wait. Talk down, Dad.
It is my feed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when did you say you're involved in real estate for 50 years?
All right.
Yeah.
So I got involved
Great.
in real estate. Yes.
Lord. Like I said, I'm glad I have you on.
Yeah.
Mr. Roberts,
You can still hear me?
partially. You go in and out. With the big question, you go out once you're talking, and then you come back in, you're like frozen. See, like now you're frozen. You're totally frozen. Okay,
Yeah.
in the meantime, let me ask you, because I know you talked to your father, y'all are from the city, okay? What made you come to Sullivan County? Because honestly, before I heard about you and what you guys are doing, I would tell, especially young people of color, when you graduate.
Talk for a minute. Let me see if I could get to another device. Maybe I get a better reception.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I tell them when they graduate, leave. Don't come back. Don't look back. Just keep going. But you guys are coming in. What made you want to come to Sullivan County?
Yeah. So I'm from Rockland County.
Okay.
My dad is from the city. Well, originally from Trinidad, but
Okay.
he came to this country when he was like 20 years old. But I'm going to start basically, answering is that I have a place in Harlem. I moved to Harlem in like 2002. I moved to the Harlem area, and around the same time I moved there, Bill Clinton had his office moved there after his presidency, right around the corner on 125th Street. The apartment that I have is on 124th and Madison, and he was on 125th between, I believe, like Lenox and Fifth, something like that. But what happened is once Clinton moved his office there, you saw like a complete gentrification happening and an influx of, first what I noticed was like Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the, foreigners and Asians and stuff, and after they started coming, then everybody started coming.
Okay.
And then basically you saw, a Black community changing and then all of a sudden pretty much becoming unaffordable. And I was involved in real estate at the time, just due to my father's guidance and, just seeing what he was doing and stuff like that. I just followed his footsteps because I just graduated college in '99. I went to SUNY Albany, and he bought me a co-op in Harlem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pop. All right.
Yeah. So
You're
he
talking
bought
about
me.
generational wealth going on.
Yeah. So that's the
Okay.
co-op that I own on 124th in Madison. So I came down there pretty much right after college, and I started getting involved in
I'm
real
gonna
estate.
try to get on it.
And so what I saw is that, like, we were just getting priced out. And, I wanted to do things and I wanted to get involved in developments, and like just coming into the game, I was already too late. The big boys, which, none of them look like us.
Right.
They already have their hands in anything and everything.
Right.
So, I pretty much just stuck with management for many years. I did management for the next like 20 years. And then I got an opportunity in Rockland, where I'm from, to get involved in a development. And that really accelerated my interest in development because, again, it's just, we're not involved in any of these things, just from the construction to the development side of things, and just, financing everything is just completely no involvement. And there's a lot of jobs created in the development that I see too, just with the vendors, the plumbers, the electricians, the guys that, move the dirt, who, do the construction, all of it. Nothing.
So, but what drew you here? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What brought you?
So again, looking for opportunities to do this ourselves, and get involved. And my dad had a relationship with Gordon and the former mayor there, and I believe he's a trustee now. He told me that, I was upstate. I was doing some management upstate too. But he told me there's a predominantly Black area in this place called Monticello. And so, in that the local government, the local municipality there was predominantly Black as well. So that is what attracted me, that it's just being able to work amongst ourselves and create opportunities. And that is what, drove us to come to Monticello, because there's not a lot of villages or towns anywhere upstate that, deals with, our people, Black people.
Right.
So that's what the main reason was.
Okay, let me ask you, because we didn't talk before the show, and with the show, I have like a question format kind of, but because it's a conversation, you're going to say something that's going to spring up a conversation, a question or something, and that just happened. So you were mentioning that you and your dad were in contact with Gordon, and the board is predominantly of color. How is that working? Just like wondering how.
Oh, it's great. Okay. I mean, you know what I mean? It's great. Like, they're, very supportive. You know what I mean? They're, they answer the phones, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very like a family feeling, I've done this in other areas, not particularly in real estate, but just like some other business pursuits in other areas. And, upstate is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, upstate is not downstate. So when you're talking and presenting yourself, it's very, there's like a clear wall sometimes, and you got to like present yourself in a way that, you just, it doesn't feel like home. So for me,
Monticello feels like home.
No, I'm just like the vibe. Just
I'm just because I don't know.
Your sister, brother, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you don't. It's just a like more welcoming. Like, I don't. we understand the struggle. We've lived it, so it's just a familiarity
Oh,
feeling.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Oh, he's
Okay, I'm
clearer.
on.
There we go.
Right, I changed the device, so that's what
Okay.
happened.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me jump back to your dad real quick to get that
Yeah.
answer. Okay. So I asked you, we talked about you being in real estate for over 50 years and what drew you to that field and what has kept you basically so passionate all these years.
Well, I started real estate as a salesperson in the Harlem area and
Okay.
graduated to start doing renovating apartment, managing apartment building for some of the absently landlords, and seeing over the years that first we were not able to buy any more houses in Harlem. And then next thing come in, the rents become very high. That again, we have been priced on neighborhoods that are where I say I grew up and been there for all these years. They not become neighborhoods anywhere. You stop knowing the people who reside there.
Right.
All the local people that we knew had left. They couldn't afford it anymore. So from that, I looked up. I said, well, in fact, the real estate there was beyond us anymore. So I looked other places, and as my son alluded to, I met Gordon, and I went up there, spoke to him, and then I started doing some research on Monticello and see that there's a need. And the same thing that I observe in Harlem is happening in Monticello. So I figure if I bring my expertise I have over the years, I can make a difference.
You
and
said
so
something that was
that's what drove
you here.
yes.
You said something that hit just now. You said that the housing was beyond us, right? Honestly,
Yes.
that's totally how it feels here. You agree, Edwin?
Yeah, definitely. I feel that we're fighting a battle to remain here.
Because I say all the time, I'm like, there's no houses. I call myself regular people. Other people seem to get offended when I say there's no housing for regular people like me, meaning I work a regular job. I would have been a good middle class, right? But because of the housing and the developments that are going on, and there's nothing for regular people, the housing that's here is dilapidated for $1,300 a month, so it's things like that. And when I saw you guys, I said, okay, I was like, they look like me. They're trying to, so I was over the moon happy. So I just wanted to let you know that. I had to get that in. But okay, so the housing crisis in Sullivan County. Okay, you've been vocal about the need for workforce housing. Can you break down what that means and why it's so critical now, workforce housing? Because I don't know what workforce housing is.
So workforce housing is affordable to households earning between 60 and 100% of the
Regular
median
people.
of the
Regular people.
area income. And it's like,
Okay.
middle income workers such as teachers, nurses, police officers, and other like essential service providers.
Care managers, caseworkers, stuff like that.
Who just find it difficult to find, housing. And basically it's just trying to stabilize the community so people don't leave. It's just provides that like middle ground that is just absent, like, not just up there, but it's like it's pretty much happening everywhere, right? And especially with kind of what's going on with tariffs, it's even getting worse. So developments and things are getting more and more scarce because it's just that it's expensive to build, so you have to have programs and get involved in things like workforce housing to like things more affordable to get subsidies and help in constructing these type of housings for regular folks.
Okay. Now, how do you see the certification of Monticello as a pro-housing community change the game locally? How does that?
Yeah, so Hochul, made this program. I think within the past 2 years, this pro housing designation is that so that if you want to receive any type of government grants,
Mhm.
you have to have this pro housing designation. So one of the things, the major grants is the DRI grant, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and it awards $10 million to communities that have projects that are both public and private investment. So, for an example, like a project that we're trying to do like on Broadway,
The 80
um,
unit. The 80 unit.
it's probably going to be more like 60.
Okay.
But just something like that, they would part of that $10 million would go to kickstart a project like that. And then you could name a bunch of other projects within the community that would make up the other amount of money to the dollar amount. So, usually you would like to put more than $10 million worth of projects in your application, and the government will designate, the $10 million DRI grant to the community that has the best looking application and the most projects that seem doable.
This is okay. Sometimes I have to be careful what I say because I just don't want people to take it wrong. I'm not talking about you guys. I love so much that I'm hearing this from people who look like me. You don't understand. You're like a breath of fresh air. It's like I can exhale. You're like walking around holding your breath because you're just waiting for that other shoe to drop. You're just waiting. And I was really one of those people who was like, there's no hope. Sullivan County is done. It's over. Everybody just get out. Like the movie Get Out. Go, run. Like that's totally how I felt. Because all I saw, as you see, all the housing structures and developments that are going up, they all look the same.
And they're not for us,
Not for us at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And if you say that, I say it anyway because I really don't care. But if you say that, you're going against them or you're anti this or you're no, I'm for people, like regular all people, so to see you guys come in and you're talking about grants and building, and I'm like, I could sit and listen to this all day because I had no idea because I'm not out there in the construction thing. But you guys talked about construction. Wait. Your dad mentioned construction, the construction industry training and apprenticeships.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about, because I just so you know, so when you guys start building, I don't know, but I know some young African American painters and construction. I know some people and they're OSHA certified with the different OSHA numbers. So I'm just saying, I'm doing a plug there. Yeah. Shout out to Kenny and Shane. I'm just saying. Okay, go ahead. Got a network, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
And okay, so again, and all construction project, in order for somebody to work there, they have to have an OSHA card. You see construction going on now, but nobody just go and check to see if the people who work in there has an OSHA card. That's a lack of that enforcement, okay? So what we are saying is that any project that we are being involved with, whoever it is, has to be OSHA certified. If they're not, we'll create a training program that will train them to be OSHA certified because there's lack of people with OSHA certification in the area.
Well, these young men, they are OSHA certified.
That is good. All right. So then the Village of Monticello is creating an RFP to address certain things like that, because the Village of Monticello have about 25 lots that they create in an RFP, and part of that RFP is to hire the young gentleman that you're talking about, who's OSHA certified, who could be involved in the development of these housing and a training program.
Okay. This is, I believe that most of the people aren't OSHA certified because they just do what they want to do around here. They do whatever they want. But Rashad asked a question. Rashad, Rec Boy Shad, he's a young man I was telling you about that. The REC stands for Reaching Everything Conceivable. He has a barbershop in Liberty, New York. Him and his partner have a podcast called In the Studio with the Rec Boys. And so he's a young business owner. And his barbershop, if you guys are ever in the area in Liberty, New York, you need to go by and just check it out, because he has the barbershop in the front, which is it's a whole vibe. It looks like a gym, the barbershop. And behind it is the rec center that he created for young people to have a space to get away, a safe space. And him and his wife are always holding activities or different events for the young people and adults too, the rec center, to hang out and have a safe place to go, because as you see, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. So
Right.
he just wanted to know how long, I said all that to say, how long before it starts?
We are currently
How long before what?
The building.
Yeah, the project. We're currently there's people that own the site, and we're negotiating a letter of intent to purchase it. And usually what happens is it gives us time to do due diligence on the site to make sure that it's viable to be able to be completed. So that is the current stage that we're at now. So the owner should be getting a LOI by the end of this week, by tomorrow. These guys from downstate own it. They've been sitting on it forever. And the reason why, again, these things don't get developed is because the cost of construction and to do these projects, they just want free market rent and projects like that. And again, these are things that would just, same thing that happened in Harlem, just wipes us out, But again, we're in an interesting time where, it's kind of hard to do now, these free market type of developments, that they need these government subsidies. It needs to have this special type of affordable workforce housing situation. So a lot of developers are not experts in this type of developing. And that's why we partnered with a group that we're going to work with that's probably one of the larger affordable housing developers in the country. And it's Penrose. Penrose is the name. PENNROSE. Those guys are, the ones helping us negotiate this LOI as we speak.
So how is that looking? Because you said, that spot has been vacant for years. I remember when I was a little girl, it was the ruling agency building. There was a beautiful building. I don't know what happened to it, but that goes for a lot of buildings. It seemed like when you go through Monticello, Fallsburg, and all that, there are buildings that are just sitting there empty. But people own them and then sitting on them. But from my perspective, a non-contractor, someone who's not in real estate, from the outside looking in, the people buy these locations or houses and just let them sit. It looks like, I could be wrong, but from the outside looking in, it looks like they're buying these places, letting them fall apart, right? And it makes the community, everything looks horrible. But then they come through, tear it down, and build up to fit their community. That's just what it looks like.
Yeah, these guys, these guys, they're not a part of that community. They're just guys from the city that are, big developers down there. And during the pandemic, they just, everyone is rushing upstate, and, they had money to, probably burn, and they just snapped up a few properties in upstate, and, the casinos nearby. So, it's just the boom didn't happen as quick as they envisioned it. So they, they have a lot of money, so they could just sit on these things.
Makes sense.
And that's just what they're doing. And if somebody wants to come and do something about it, they're like, go ahead and do it. So, my father and I are like, hey, we want to do something about it.
Thank you.
So, like I said, we just wanted to make sure we got, like I said, this is a special type of housing and you need special types of subsidies and grants and things like that. So we wanted to, partner with the best.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
And yeah, and so I see this guy. Okay, that's that. But I know because I see some questions.
Yeah, like how do you plan? Yeah, the ones that I throw them up quick, but like some that need to stick, that need to be answered, I keep them up. Like, how do you plan on working in unity with other housing services in Sullivan County? That's a good question. Like how is that working?
Yeah, so that, I mean, with that situation is that's why my father and I are here to kind of bridge that connection. When you say how do you plan, that's something we just sit down and discuss. We a lot of these type of developments, you have a lot of town hall meetings and community interaction. So to be honest, it's just however you guys want it to work. Really,
is the community coming out? Like, how do you get the word out there? Like that's
well, just kind of how we've kind of met you. We have an office right across the street from the site. So my dad has a lot of weekly meetings with just stakeholders in the community and just kind of doing the grassroots type of word of mouth stuff. And so that that's why we're on here too, to grow the movement.
And when you were talking about people that are basically involved and locked in, Edwin was one, and Shamika, I was telling your dad, Shamika Foyer, she was telling me about you guys without telling me about you guys, right? Because I don't know if she thought things were still kind of under wraps, or so she didn't want to let too much of the cat out of the bag. So she kept telling me, Bunk, there's this thing you need to be involved. I was like, no, because every time people try to get me involved, it's something that I regret later. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And so, but then I found out it was you after we locked in with Edwin. I mentioned something about the show, and then she brought up your name, and I'm like, yeah, that's what's going on. So it's really crazy, but great. So you have a great ally. Somebody out there, she is out there pushing.
Yeah, she's organized the weekly meeting in the office. So she reached out to people have similar interests in the community, and we have weekly meetings on Thursday at the office.
I just want to let you know it's hard. It's hard, I think, to get people involved because people are afraid. People are afraid, and they just don't get involved. Like I told her, I was like, it's that mentality where long as I'm good and mine are good, I don't want to, ruffle any feathers.
Look, and that's why one group dominates, because they are organized, they are in sync, they are like together, you know what I mean? And it's like that's why they're all the way from down here to Rockland all the way up there, they're able to just expand just because they're a solid unit. A lot of us are tired. We work all day. Like we like to enjoy life. We're not living by like, a focused like ideology. We got other things going on, and and it's hard to always, meet up every week and stuff. So like, I get it, but at the same time,
right.
Look what the result is.
Right. You can't sit back and complain.
Our neighborhood being depleted. And so eventually we're gonna keep, if we have meetings every Thursday and one person come, the next person too, we are not gonna stop doing this. And eventually folks will understand that this is benefit to them, because in their everyday life they start seeing, they're already seeing, they just want to know if we're a serious group that they can come behind us to continue what we want to do.
Okay.
And we're going to prove ourselves with that.
And just to follow up on that, people have been disappointed up here so much. They want to see. They don't want to hear.
Right.
And that's the problem. And that's why sometimes it takes a while to get the people involved and getting them into your situation. But there's going to be hope, hopefully, because we're living in a very tumultuous situation right now, and things are going to be changing. and people are going to have to get involved if they want to survive in this type of situation.
Yes, Mr. Roberts, you're right, Edwin.
So that's right. So that is the reason why this is like a three approach. We also that is on the development side and bringing housing into Monticello, Village of Monticello. On the other part, Intercultural Resources Development is a nonprofit that going to try to bring services
the recovery.
to the community.
I was going to hit that. I was going to mention that.
We're going to be more in.
That you had mentioned that we need more viable drug programs in Monticello. I didn't know that Catholic Charities closed. I didn't know that.
Right,
there really is nothing for, you know what I've noticed? I mean, we had the Recovery Center and we had Catholic Charities, right? For people who are dealing with addiction. But I never seen, like in Monticello, maybe it was there, I never seen it, but what is it called? It's you have the other program for families that are dealing with people with drug addiction. You have rehab, and it's a name for it.
Well, you got a program in Barryville that deals with women that are,
not that. Alan, is it Al-Anon?
Al-Anon or
no? Wait, there's a program for a family. Look, I don't know, but at the end of the day, something like a rehab is needed. That's part of non-for-profit.
Right. So what we're trying to do is the following. I'm talking right now with people who had substance abuse, who went through these programs and become counselors, and I'm asking them why some of the colleagues went back using. What was the pitfall? What they see will be a viable program that will enhance the drug situation. So I'm talking to 2 or 3 individuals now who was in programs in Monticello, okay? Through Daytop and some other programs they had, and asking them to give me a curriculum that they think that will work. I want to look at it, talk to people counselors who in the ground, like we met a lady that her son died from an overdose, and she's in the street right now talking to people. I want to get her involved. I want to get people who actually using drugs, who go through these revolving doors, drug treatment, and keep going back every 3 months. They go back. Show them a way they can some housing and employment, and that is a part. So that is being developed with some people who in the drug counseling right now, and so we're talking. We're starting to meet again on that group to come up with a program that we will go and look out for funding to find that will make a viable drug program in Monticello.
I love that so much. You don't understand how much I love that, because everybody. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off. It's just my excitement. Go ahead.
No, because it's like everyone. Say this without getting personal. Everyone has been affected by addiction, right? Some more so than others. People have lost people to addictions, overdosing, especially when this fentanyl and everything came around. My son, who's in law enforcement, he became so desensitized to the overdoses and things, because it's so frequent, it's so much. And so the person that's having the overdose has a family. It's Al-Anon. That's what it's called. It's called Al-Anon. It is Al-Anon. Has a family that this is affecting. And for you guys to come in and want to do it, it's amazing. I love it so much. I love the platform, the way everything is laid out, how you're going to have people who were addicted and you're trying to get people who are addicted involved. I've never heard this before. Like, you guys are really allowing me to like exhale a little bit. I'm like, I don't have to hold my breath as tight anymore. So this is because you're doing it for everybody. See, that's the thing. You don't. I've been here in Sullivan County for 54, almost 55 years. So to see something being done for everybody, it's like, wow, this can really happen. You know?
Just
And
a comment.
Some of these people that what I speaking to right now is looking at this podcast right now because I got calls today that, oh, I didn't know you were going to be on, and we're going to be listening. And especially one young lady, a lot of them came from Monticello, was addicted to drug from in Monticello.
Right.
Some of them moved to the city, some moved to Brooklyn, but I have been speaking to them and try and ask them to come and bring me a curriculum that they know will work.
Right. Kudos to you guys.
Yeah, and just to follow up, the recovery center was run by a Catholic Charities, and I don't understand why a program like that fell apart when we have such a need here with drug abuse. And I hope that we can revitalize it, because there's a whole empty building that they were using for people that had drug addictions and all other kind of situations. So this is something that needs to be explored.
Yes. Mr. Roberts?
Okay, but look at this, right? What involvement the community had with Catholic Charities? I don't know if they had any. No. You see? They might have been running over there by themselves, and then they close up shop and go there because it seemed like the next one day they was open and the next day they were closed. Seeing the community didn't even know, or the people responsible in the community who should be having a liaison with this, it didn't happen.
It wasn't happening, and because Monticello, they treat it like a ghetto. I'm sorry to say it, because there's a lot of people of our color and of other ethnic groups.
Right.
So we don't get the priority like other situations get.
No, I mean, they talk about us bad on Facebook. Whatever.
It's true. It's like, it's known too. Like,
yeah, it's
talk to some state officials. They're just like, yeah, we know, like, it's a struggle area. Like, it's just known. It's messed up.
It's really messed up.
We don't get the priority.
That's why we are going to be.
You could talk, Sheldon.
That's why we're going to bring this to the forefront and bring these things. And as I said, it was a three-way approach to operating in Sullivan County or in Monticello, which is one part my son thing, and he's articulated with the housing and so on. And I leave that part to him. My part is trying to bring in social services to Monticello, trying to get the youth involved. And in fact, one of Gordon Jenkins' dream is to having a youth center in Monticello to have the kids something to do.
Okay, wait, because I have to. If this. Gordon has been on my show. Okay, Gordon has been on my show. I've been in Gordon's shop, and we've had this conversation when he was running. He was talking about the youth center, which is the reason why Rashad, Rec Boy Shad, created the rec center in the back. Right, there are so many buildings in Monticello that could be refurbished. Right, Monticello overall is really beautiful. I think after the redone, it's a lot of So I've suggested to him many times. So why don't you just refurbish one of those buildings? Oh, no. I want to build a new one. No, use what you got in the meantime. So that's when I hear stuff like that, I go crazy, because I'm like, you're not doing what you said. There are buildings that you can use and utilize that will give the kids something to do now to get them off the streets, because it's so much violence that's going on. Like, first of all, you got to draw these kids in. You're talking about a new immaculate building. You got to draw these kids in off the streets, because everybody want to carry guns and everybody want to act like they live that life, and they're not about that life. You know what I'm saying? So use what you have. They're not about that life. Yeah. From the beginning, when he was in office the first time, he's been talking about this rec center that has not come the forefront yet. Hasn't happened. So it
So
drives me
I'm going to
insane.
have a conversation with that gentleman. I'm going to have a
Rashad?
conversation with that gentleman that you talk about at the barbershop. I'm
Okay.
going to go up to Liberty and speak to him
Rashad,
and see how we could coordinate something. But because he's in that space already,
yes.
in no sense trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is already invented. We'll sit down and collaborate and see how we could expand what he's doing.
Yes, because he has plans to
and so
expand.
But that's just so you know, a lot of the things you're talking about fit under this, pro housing DRI situation and getting the grants and stuff. So like the $10 million that I'm talking about, a couple of the things that you're mentioning, this is where you pull some of the projects and the funds to help kickstart these things, to help,
it can be done.
just to help help getting funded on those things. So just wanted to let you know. That's all.
Thank you. I just had to get that. Sometimes people say things that just rises up. I don't know where it comes from. Okay. I want to talk about the Sullivan County Citizens for Good Government.
So then there's right. Okay. So again, I come from a political background. I was involved in politics in East Harlem. For a very long time. I was instrumental in getting Senator Olga Mendez, she deceased now, elected to the state Senate, the first Puerto Rican woman ever elected to any office in the United States. And I was a campaign manager that created a situation. I come to Monticello and I see that everything else, we do not get involved in politics.
Right.
And that is the most important. That is very important to us. We need to go out to vote so we can hold our elected official accountable, that we either support them or we don't. We support. So we created this platform, Sullivan County Citizens for Good Government, that will advocate things that we've seen is in our community that we need them to address. If they don't address it, then we galvanize us and vote them out. And so that is what this political action committee is about.
I've been screaming. I have a Tuesday show, mostly during election time, called Political Tuesday, Tea Time with Bunky Political Tuesday. I hate politics, hate it, but it has to be talked about. A lot of people don't know about elections, and I'm on the show screaming, you gotta vote, you gotta vote, you gotta vote. And then I'm telling people during the elections, okay, make sure you turn it over because there's an amendment on the other side, because you'll be surprised how many people don't know at certain times during election season, there's an addendum amendment on the back. They don't know. And I tell them, I'm like, okay, you don't know, but let's just say 3 people in the whole county knew it and they voted for it. They're going to get it. Like, you have to vote. And I hate politics with everything in me because it stresses me out. But it is something that has to be done. You can't complain about these politicians if you didn't vote. I tell people all the time, I can talk, Joe, because I vote. And you got to start at your local levels. But don't forget about the presidency. But the local is what's hitting you in the head, and they don't listen. It's like,
They have to get involved with local politics. They have to be involved in their neighborhood. And so not only at election time, we want to be able to educate people about the voting system. So have voting registration, voting town hall meetings, and so on, to educate our folks that how important it is for them to come out to vote.
You know about
and
the block vote,
if we can do that, then we'll change our old community and those elected officials that is elected now. They'll have to pay us some attention and pay attention to the needs of our community, and that's what Sullivan County Citizens for Good Government is about.
And for those that are listening for the first time that don't tune in to Tea Time with Bunky, and especially during the political time, me and Rashad Recboy Shad, the gentleman at the barbershop that you're going to go check in on, we were talking about the block vote. Most people are in position right now because of that block vote. And people are like, well, what is the block vote? That's the vote. I mean, I'm
Yes.
telling you, because I found out, because I exposed the whole thing on my show because I just be doing too much. They have a WhatsApp, right? That community have a WhatsApp. And on that WhatsApp is where they communicate
Mm-hmm.
who is going to vote for who. They take a picture of a ballot and they
Yes.
show their people who to vote for
Yes.
or who to write in. And so that's why when people are going out to vote
Yes.
and we lose because of those that didn't vote, and you're
Right.
screaming, you need
That's
to get
why.
out to vote. That block vote in Sullivan County is crazy. It stresses me out. So hopefully this pack will get people involved.
We have to do that now because our
Yes.
time is getting short.
Absolutely. Because we see what's going on at the top level. But okay, this has nothing to do with this, but I just gotta get out there because we're talking about politics and things like that. People don't believe that MAGA support is real. You know, I mean, like, it's a difference between Republicans and MAGA, and we try to stress that, you know, in my show. You have Republicans, I respect a lot of Republicans, but then you have MAGA, who's diehard. Whatever this man says, they're going to go for everything he says. And watching everything, all the services that they're trying to pull back, you know, Sullivan County depends on the Medicaid and the Medicare. And I'm like, one day, well, soon I'm going to need Social Security, and they're trying to pull all this back. I really talked to somebody who was telling me, you know, well, it's going to have to get bad for a little while, but then it'll get better. And I think it's wrong that Elon Musk is being targeted and his businesses are being destroyed. I don't think it's fair. And I'm like, am I really talking? Is this really happening right now? So for people to understand, this is real. Sullivan County is there's a lot of MAGA supporters. And I don't know if you guys have felt that yet, but I'm out there all over.
These people, they're like in a fog.
It's
like a fog.
So you guys have like an uphill battle. I'm just saying, not that God can do all things. It can happen, you know, but we got to get people out there and make them aware of this voting thing. Voting for the right person, the people who's not going to, you know,
I say
the right person, people. I don't know if you guys are Trump supporters. I could have put my whole foot in my mouth just now. I don't know. I don't want to know.
I'm not a Trump supporter. Sorry.
I'm like, I don't want to know. No, we're not even going to do that.
We're not doing
that. We're not doing that. I
don't. I mean, it's interesting because I'm, you know, I've tried to do business way more up north where it's even more MAGA'd out, you know, in even smaller communities that are, you know, completely MAGA'd. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. Like, people just want to see progress, you know, at the end of the day. So am I worried about them? No, I'm not. Because at the end of the day, people want to see results and they want to see things get better.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do. So I don't see, you know what I mean? Like, bring it, you know, because what's the alternative? What do you do? You know what I'm saying? What's your plan of action? You know, you just want to complain? Cool. I'm open to all types of criticism, constructive wise, but what's your solution? Just don't run your mouth. Provide a solution. I'll listen. You know, MAGA, non-MAGA, and I don't care.
Right. Let's just get the job done. Basically, let's just get. Okay.
Because ultimately, what's dominating isn't MAGA either. You know what I'm saying? What's up there and what's growing in the community that we're talking about, like, you know what I mean? It's they don't look like the typical MAGA people. It's a strong religious community, you know, like, so I don't see a MAGA person really being, you know, they need to listen to.
Yeah, like
they
really
need to listen to because they'll be packing their bags with us.
Absolutely, they don't understand that. That's the problem,
right? Hit in the head with that briefcase full of cash too, and told to hit the road.
That's the thing right there. They don't understand. They don't understand that part that you just said. That part right there. Okay. What are some of the biggest issues that you believe the local officials are overlooking? Like, what are they missing? Like there's some sort of disconnect. Like what is going on? Like, do you have an idea? This is just a.
It's a lot. Like, you know, we're human beings, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just got you imagine just getting, you know, the keys to a house and it's like everything is wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? So
oh no, I'm not just talking about Monticello board. I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about local politicians in general. Like
but that's what I'm saying is that everybody, like, we're all human. So I think local politicians are just completely overwhelmed and they don't trust everybody. And sometimes the people they do trust aren't the right people. And, you know, and that's just the problem. And usually the wrong people are the people that have resources today, you know, that could manipulate and have sway and power.
Now, how long have you guys been in Sullivan
Could
County?
I say something also?
Wait, Edmund. No, go ahead. Because go ahead.
Politicians become self-serving once they become politicians. They no longer think about us, the constituents, and that's the problem. You know, it's not only Republicans but also Democrats. That's why Trump got. That's why
I don't like party. Yeah, I'm like, let's just strip them all down.
Absolutely
you
right.
Know, they gotta represent us. They gotta represent us.
But we're the ones that got them there. No, people are too loyal to a party. They're forgetting the people. That's
right. And they're forgetting the people. That's it.
No.
And once they get in there,
but we're becoming that culture of, like, you know, me, look at me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Trump was a reality star. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, you're right. Once people get into a position of power, it's like, yeah, you serving yourself, you become self-serving, and you're not serving your community, and you're only going to deal with people that could make you look better and things that, you know,
they'll keep you in power. They'll keep you in power. Yeah.
Well, he was good at it. I'm not mad at him at all. He knew how to use his platform. He did what he had to do, and the people fell for it.
Yeah. So a gangster, man.
It was just
we're lucky it's only him because he's a dummy. We could get somebody.
Edwin, you're not getting thrown off there. It's whatever.
It's the same way we have to. It's the same way we have to do what we have to do. We have to get on education. It's going to be a hard fight, but we're going to be consistent. We're going to bring it to them. We're going to explain to them how it affecting their daily lives. They thought that it wouldn't affect their lives, and maybe it's a good thing that he's there. You know, your social security check is in problem. You know, this has been cut. You know that. So you have to change your whole thinking. And in order to do that, you know, by going to the ballot and voting, that you could make a change. And that's what you have to do. Start from that one vote at the bottom.
Right.
People have taken what we got for granted. It's no longer, you can no longer take it for granted. No. It's not going to be a situation where it's going to be given. Now this gentleman, Trump, is taking everything that we fought and people died for.
Well, people need to get out there and vote. And thank you so much for energizing people.
Right, exactly.
To get out there. Because that's what the PAC is doing, is giving more fuel to the fire here in Sullivan County so people can be more aware.
There
and they're
like,
go. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, but
now, okay. Because we're slowly starting to wrap up, but we're not going to wrap up without talking about your family and the legacy. So your son Sheldon here is following in your footsteps, and your daughter Shelly, you're deeply involved in your mission.
Yes.
So
yes.
I messed the name of the realty company up. What is it?
Aruka. It's a place in Trinidad. My dad's from Trinidad.
So I pronounced it right.
You actually did a good job. I wanted to tell you, like, you didn't do bad.
Okay, but Aruka Realty. So, Mr. Roberts, how does it feel to have them following in your footsteps? How does that feel?
I'm very excited about it. I worked all my years, came to this country when I was 17, going on 18 years old. and build something and hope one day my kids will take over and continue. And I'm so proud of both of them and where they have took this and where I see they're going with it. And very happy and proud of them.
Sheldon, was this something that you wanted to do? Because sometimes kids, they don't want to follow in their parents' footsteps, but was his passion so contagious that you just wanted to, I'm gonna do what my dad is doing?
It's freedom, man. My dad always promoted, being your own boss, doing your own thing, and just, that there's no ceiling. You could be as big as anybody, and just that, him instilling that in me. And so when you say, did he force it? Absolutely not. He never forced anything on me. He always wanted me to just do what's best for me, but make sure I'm in control as much as my life as possible. Don't work for somebody and, don't, push someone else's dream. Do as much as your dream and your goals and be the boss and control them. You see these guys around here that are big, you could be right there with them. Mm-hmm. And he always instilled that into me since I was a little kid, and so there was just nothing forced. It's just seeing how he lived and just, did it to his own beat, to his own drum. I come from, a suburban neighborhood, and, everybody's father was mostly a worker and stuff like that. And just, going the normal path of working for somebody. And I just, it never, just growing up under my father, just never, I never was attracted to that. I always knew that you could always be bigger and you could always be better and you could always do better and you could serve your, your community and outreach. And just seeing him in Harlem and just seeing all the respect he got from the people around in the community in Harlem, it was just contagious.
Oh,
and,
wow.
It's just important, man. And I just see in our community, having a father who backs you, you're just invincible. It doesn't matter if I fail or not. I just know I got a mother and father and a sister who love me. That's it.
I love that response. I'm such a sentimental person. That just I love that so much because I have sons, and my ex-husband, he's a police officer. He worked for somebody, but now retired. He has his own business. But listening to you, another breath of fresh air, listening to you normalize the Black family. You see, because people don't see this. I mean, it's there. Oh, it's there on the forefront, but people want to act like it's not there. But you have a strong Black father, the strong Black mother that let the little boy know that, okay, I don't have to work for anybody. I can be my own boss, have people working for me. And I hear that conversation more so now with the younger, some of the younger Black men. Because my son he works in a barbershop. One of his goals is to have his own barbershop on Broadway in Monticello. And he and his friends talk about that. And he comes at me, he's like, Mom, I don't want to work for somebody. I want my own. We have to build generational wealth. We have to do this. We have to do that. I don't want to build up somebody else's dream, like you were saying, when I have my own. So it's I love that you just honored your father like that. So that's
emotional support is everything, man. You know what I mean? Because it's, it's, if I go out there and I fail, I have the love of my family to support me and keep me going, getting up and climbing the hill again. People that don't have that, you see why they turn into, substance abuse and violence and all this other things because, it's rough out here.
Their foundation, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Roberts, you did a great job. Just so you know, you did amazing here.
Thank you.
You did amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. So as we get ready to wrap this up, really quick, 5 minutes? What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a difference but do not know where to start?
Who you talking to?
Anybody who wants to answer.
Oh.
Well, how about this? We'll start with the elder Mr. Roberts first. Like, what advice would you give?
I think they should evaluate themselves, see what their strengths are, and pursue that, and pursue it, and focus on that, and not different things, and be strong and be good at what you're going to do.
Okay, right. You got to know your strengths.
Yes.
And that younger Mr. Roberts, you're a young man. So what would you tell the younger generation? What would you tell them if they want to do something?
You have to be you just be fearless, you know, find your passion, find what you love and go for it. And also, you know, get a mentor or someone who you know is an expert in what you're passionate in. And don't be afraid to just go out there and try and make an effort to get that connection and to, you know, fail, you know, because you're going to fail a lot. You know what I mean? Believe it, I'm 48 years old and I'm still, you know, learning and figuring things out. And I get scared. Look, you could ask my dad. I almost didn't even want to come on this podcast.
Why?
Because I'm scared to talk. Like, this is scary to me. I don't know who's looking at me. Like, I don't know who's like judging me.
Thing.
Like, you know, like,
a lot of
this
eyes.
is scary, you know? I mean, I feel comfortable that I'm glad I did it, but like, you could ask my dad many times. I'm like, Dad, listen, man, I don't do this stuff. You know, like, I don't like, this is not, I don't like to just talk. I'm about action. Like, this is talking, you know? But I know you have to talk and you have to communicate because it does inspire people. Just like energetically now, I don't even remember being scared. So,
because, you know, that's the power of Tea Time with Bunky, really. It really is. You know, people are terrified and they come on and they just feel so comfortable.
Yeah. So those mental blocks and excuses in your mind, that fear, like, ignore them.
Right.
Go for it, bro.
Right.
Go for
it. Okay. Edwin, you got anything you want to say on that?
Yeah,
because you've been working in the community forever.
Yeah, and you know, it's just stay positive and don't get discouraged. And there's always hope and opportunity. You know, and just keep on, you know, getting involved and being involved, and don't be afraid of failure. Failure is not something that is going to consume you. Everybody has to deal with failure. So
exactly,
it's part of life.
And there are people here, where when I say here, Sullivan County, who are struggling and feeling forgotten. So what's like a message for people? Because a lot of people do feel forgotten, and you guys are a breath of fresh air. So for those in Sullivan County that are feeling like it's no hope, you know, it's just like a dark cloud. That's how people describe Sullivan County. Because when you're driving into Sullivan County, you're driving down into Sullivan County, right? So it's like a dark cloud over us, like the dark cloud. People come here and just fall apart and lose everything unless you can get out. So what would you tell people that you're new coming in, you know, bright eyes and seeing things differently? Like, what would you tell advice would you tell the struggling people feeling, when I say struggling, people who are feeling like they're forgotten? Because I honestly, God was one of them.
They have to. Again, it goes back to one step at a time. Get involved in your community. Come to these meetings that we talk about. You know, something might be there that interests you, or somebody in there. Huh?
What time are the meetings?
I didn't hear.
You said on Thursday. They're Thursdays. What time?
I didn't hear.
No, the meetings you were talking about.
At 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Huh?
At your location? By the Chase?
Yeah, by the Chase Bank.
Okay. Okay. So we can get that out so people can. And is it every Thursday?
I think it's like every. What do you do? You don't do it every Thursday, or are you trying to get it?
No, we're trying to get it, but
every Thursday, because we look. We say we want to be consistent.
Yeah, because I was gonna say consistency. You gotta have consistency.
And then she's the one. She's there. She make a commitment to be there. If I cannot be there on that Thursday, she will be there. So
because people, all it takes is one time for them to decide, okay, I'm going to the meeting, and they go and nobody's there, they're never going again. They can be like, they're not.
No, somebody going to be there. Somebody will be there.
Do you have the address?
We was there, last Thursday, Edwin? How many people came? 2, right? 2 people came last Thursday.
But what's the address over there? It's like 7 St. John Street? Someone? What is it? 7 St. John Street, Suite what? What is it?
7 St. John Street, Suite 301. And we had pizza and everything up there. But, we are trying. We want to show consistency. We want them to come and listen to the message, see what the vision that we have, and see if it aligns with them, or if we can assist them in whatever they're going through.
And it's good, that you're on, because I'm telling you, politicians and people in position in Sullivan County, they are watching. Trust me. And whenever I have like a situation like this, or I have politicians in, I can see them. I can't see them, but I can see their numbers, and I know they're there. They're just watching. So, yeah. Nobody's intimidated.
I want to be able to have a block of votes in the Village of Monticello, that when we go on Sullivan County Citizens for Good Government and say we are backing this person, that we can deliver. Exactly, we can deliver a couple hundred votes to that individual, and so that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all
then
about.
They will start, and that's what we'll do.
I totally agree. Lord.
Then they will come to us, and then it will turn around where they will come to us and ask them, what can they do for us?
Yeah. And it's only fair. It's a playing field. It's the same. It should be like that. It should.
Yes.
I like that. I do. I went to your webpage. So how can people support your work or get involved with the programs? I had the doing too much right now. Okay. They can go to your website, right? sccfgg.com. Yes. I went there, and it shows how they can donate and be a part of. For people who are listening on the podcast, go to sccfgg.com for the Sullivan County Citizens for Good Government Pact. You can go in there and see what they're all about, where you could donate and where they're located, and you have events coming up.
And the site is still being developed. Okay, there's some more. We still keep developing the site.
Okay. I said there was some good stuff on there. It gave me an idea of what you were about. So the startup
is about,
right. So, and that's what they just need to know what you're about and how to donate, because that donation button works. So they need to know none of this is free. It costs money to do things like this.
Right, to run voters registration, voters, different things that send out a mailing and so on to and this is all the things that we're planning on doing. Sending out mailing to the homeowners and everybody to let them know what is happening in the community, what part we want to play.
Thank you. This is so needed. This is so needed, because I'm telling you, I was that person who just felt lost. I'm like, nobody hears me. Let me just do what I got to do. Let me do my podcast and get the voice out there, and I got it out there. And for those that have not, thank you. And for those that have not heard about you guys, that's what I meant when I said they're watching. So people are now going to become more aware. So hopefully it brings more people to the door. And whenever you have any event or whatever, and you want to get something, just let me know, and I got you. You know.
Well,
So.
on the 5th, there's going to be
very
something.
much for having us on.
Absolutely.
And on the 5th, there's going to be that mass protest in front of the government building in Monticello.
That's
yes. I'm going to be there.
I know.
We'll be there.
Yes, we will be. In fact, we're getting some flyers, flyers made up for the kids to have when we get there. Some from posters. We're working on that now. Annette is working on that right now.
Yeah. She was saying. Shamika had said something to me about it, about the posters and all that stuff like that. So she's on it. Like she's on it.
She's a beautiful. She is a beautiful person. I'm so thankful that I was introduced to her.
Yeah, she is stressing me out. I mean, she's like, "Buck, you need to do this, that." I'm like, "Oh my God, girl!" But you know what? But you need people like her. You do. You need people like her that is so passionate about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So any final words before I end this? Because I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time. Thank you, Sheldon, for losing your fear and coming on, because it helped out when your dad froze. So it worked out,
Yeah.
So,
I know. I thought about that. I'm like, what if I wasn't even here? This thing would.
Oh no, we would have figured it out. I would have definitely figured it out. That's what I do. I wouldn't have let him go because this conversation was too important. So I would have been like, okay, you need to move somewhere. I've even had people who froze be like, okay, we're gonna call, and I put. So we make it happen. So, well, when I say we, I mean me, because I'm a one-woman show. I do it all. So
you do a great job. You do a great job.
Awesome.
Yeah, very good. Thanks so much
for having
us. And we'll keep you informed on anything that we get involved with or so you'll be the first so you could give it to your audience, your listeners.
Shamika, let me know. I'm telling you, she's hitting me up every day.
Yeah,
every day she's in my inbox. So it's like she's good. She's good.
Yes.
So no, I appreciate you all. Make sure you tell your friends and everybody tune in on Thursdays at 7, so it doesn't interfere with your show, your meetings. 7 p.m. or they can always catch the reruns on YouTube and Facebook. All of my show. I mean, like every conversation needed. So if you guys have anything coming up and you want to talk about it, let's do it.
Yes.
Okay. Because everybody know how to log in now. Okay. So
yes.
1 second, I'm going to close this out. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Tea Time with Bunky. This was an important conversation. Tell your friends about this. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. The importance of getting out there and voting. These two gentlemen are trying to come into Sullivan County and make a change that we've all been asking for, because we've all been asking for this, y'all. So we've all been asking for this. So get out there, support them. Let them know what's going on so that they can make a difference in the community and get on it, because we need people like this. We prayed for them, y'all. And I always say, be careful what you ask God for, because he's going to mess around and give it to you. When he give it to you, what you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? So we have it here. So this is amazing. So I got to go, you guys. Have a great night. Be kind to everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you always.
Okay. Take care. Bye.